Rutgers wins the battle for 15th place and gets 2 wins on a Wednesday night as Rutgers Wrestling picks up another win. So Rutgers comes away with a win and wins the battle for 15th place and the opportunity to potentially get to the Big Ten tournament. That's where we're at now. We're waxing poetic about possibly getting into the Big Ten tournament in a year. A lot of people had us in the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. We come away with an 89-85 win in overtime in a game that I said would be really close because these teams are very evenly matched and not very good. Led by Dylan Harper's 34 points. And we kind of knew this would be close and a nip and tuck kind of game. Unlike most of the reporting you're seeing today about this game, I'm not going to wax poetic. Oh, what a big step this was we took towards getting into the Big Ten tournament. If that's your headline, if that's where we are, boy, that's really sad. If you would think, I get it that we're trying to find nuggets to kind of generate some interest about this team that was supposed to be a player in the Big Ten tournament. To me, that's not a headline. You did what you had to do. You went into, we got to win on the West Coast. That's kind of a big deal, I guess, for us. But you beat a Washington team that you should have beat. I think Washington was 2-point underdog, but it's home and the West Coast and yada, yada, yada. But they're now 500 and they're 4-11, I believe 4-11 in the Big Ten. And this is a team that we should have beat. And despite, Dylan Harper's 34 points, Jay Will had some big moments in this game at the right spots. You know, you think about the first half. Yeah, Dylan was heating up. I think he had 15 points in the first half. Jay Will hits a 3 to right before the half to go from 39-39 to 42-39. And then at the end of the regulation, he gets a steal on an inbounds pass, hits a free throw, ties up the game. Without that, we lose. And it's a totally different tone of discussion today. So Jay Will, Dylan will, has the stat sheet and the headlines, but Jay Will had some big moments in this game. So going into this was interesting because these teams, as I said, were evenly matched. Defense not great. Once again, we struggled with some things that we typically struggle with. We'll get to that in a second. In overtime, both these teams stunk, shooting the ball. I think they were a combined 2 for 15. But free throws were the difference in this game. For Rutgers, we hit 8 in overtime to reach the final score. We were 26 for 37, 70%. That's solid, if not spectacular. And we ended this 2-game stretch where we weren't getting and hitting very many free throws. There weren't many opportunities. And so we're going back to where we were 4 or 5 games ago, getting 30-plus free throws. Nonetheless, it's hard to get excited about this one. We struggle again on defense. Getting killed in the paint, on screens. We had I think we had like a 1-point lead, and then Washington takes the lead. And we always, I kind of joke about it, but it's not. When we get out to a good start and we take a good lead early on, that's not a good sign for us. We fell behind, and we might have been down 4 points midway through the first half. And frankly, we play better from behind when we have our backs to the wall. But then, Washington struggled on offense. They were missing a lot of field goals. We start to play catch up. We start to hit our shots. Dylan heats up. It's tied 23. He hits a three-pointer that puts us up. And then, he had a run. I don't know how many points in a row he had. Maybe it was six or nine. But he gets 15 to end the half. Jay Will hits that three. And we take the lead 42-39. We struggle again on defense. Osabor in limited minutes had 17 points and a critical foul at the end of the game on that inbounds pass where Jay Will got the steal. He fouls out. Makai Mason, he had 20 points, 4 steals. Diallo finished with 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. So we had guys on Washington that were just carving us up. Tyler Harris had 17 points, 4 rebounds against Ace. So we're struggling, with it didn't hurt us tonight. We got killed in the paint, and our defense wasn't great. But it's a good thing Washington is just as bad as we are. Nonetheless, in the second, the game was kind of nip and tuck, and Dylan goes on a 6-0 run. We take the lead 74-71 in the second half. There's like 4 minutes left. 8 lead changes over the last couple minutes until, we get to the end of the game where Jay Will hits the free throw. And then we go into overtime, and then we hit our free throws and win the game. Both benches quiet this game. Rutgers bench 11 points, Washington only 9. But we get the win. I'm not going to wax poetic about how big a win this is, and this is our chance, and we're going to make that Big Ten tournament run. We still have a lot of flaws, and they showed up against a team that's not very good. Forget the pipe dreams about winning the Big Ten or a Big 10 tournament run. Let's go through some stats. Dylan, of course, had 34 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 9-18 shooting, 4 for 8 from 3. Jay Will, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Jay Will, he lots of times he'll disappear, but then there's also lots of times where he has solid games and big moments, and he had one of those games last night. Ace, 18 points, 8 rebounds, yet another 0 assist night. 6 of 13 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. Lathan, the other, we talk about how his offensive game is evolving, needs to beef up his defense a little bit, but he also has to work on his foul trouble. He had 8 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist in a typical kind of Lathan night, but he got into foul trouble in 22 minutes of play. J. Mike, 5 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists on 2 of 5 shooting in 24 minutes. Tyson Acuff, 3 points, 4 rebounds, 1 for 5 shooting, and 1 for 3 from 3 in 22 minutes. Durkak, once again, put in timeout. I don't know, these weird rotations. I don't know how. He had 3 points, 1 rebound, 4 minutes of play, 1 personal foul. Zach, Martini, PJ, both had 0 points. Zach had an assist. PJ had 1 rebound. So USC comes into town on Sunday as we try to lock down 15th place, while Washington, they're either 17th or tied for 16th with Northwestern, I believe. So there's going to be a battle between the bottom of the Big Ten and the big week in Big Ten basketball. We'll see who gets the opportunity to advance to the Big Ten tournament. And I think Washington plays Iowa. So we'll see what happens there. Everybody's going to be glued to what happens at the bottom of the Big Ten this week. On to Rutgers' best athletic program. Wrestling defeats Penn 18-13 in a closer than expected match where Penn I don't know what it is with these Ivy League schools and these private liberal arts colleges, like Lehigh and Cornell and the Ivies is always good. And Penn last year, I think, also won the first 4 out of 5 matches against us, but then we finished strong. The upper weights win 5 in a row, and we pull out the win. Was a little bit worried at the beginning of the match. We finished 14-5, first time in 10 years with a winning record in the Big Ten at 5-3. Penn wins 4 out of the first 5 minutes with only Dylan Sharver getting the only win, defending Big Ten Conference 133-pound champ, 7th place NCAA finisher last year. And, I'm always amazed at how, and I might have talked about this months ago when we were talking about keeping student athletes home, and how many New Jersey guys, elite guys that we wrestle against. And so Dylan Sharver beats 2-time national prep from Blair, Ryan Miller, and a 7-4 win. I want to say, I can't remember what year it was. Might have been 2019, where in the NCAA wrestling finals, I want to say there was, out of the 10 matches, 5 or 6 guys from New Jersey. That's unbelievable. Nonetheless, we win the last 5. Yara getting his 100th win. PJ Casale gets a big moment in a kind of toss-up match. And that gave us a 15-13 lead going into the final bout. He replaced John Poznansky, who had a knee brace on. He didn't weigh in. So I'm not sure what his status is going to be, but looks like John Poznansky, his time at Rutgers remains to be seen. And another match with 2 New Jersey state champions, Anthony White wins 3-1 over Andy Trzynski, 2-time state champion at Del Barton. Shane Cartagena-Walsh gets a win. And he got a takedown with 6 seconds left. Boy, these matches are tough against, these Ivies you think you're going to be able to roll over. Nonetheless, we finished with Anthony White, Jackson Turley, Shane Cartagena-Walsh, PJ Casale, Yaroslav Slavakuski getting their wins. Jackson Turley gets his last home match, and it was a big one. I believe we are now ranked 11th, and we go into Northwestern for the Big Ten tournament March 8th and March 9th. So that might be something to root for. I think we're probably going to have, a mixed bag of results when it comes to wrestling. It was kind of fun having Anthony Ashnall and Nick Suriano, because they were, at the top of the food chain, and you kind of expected that they were going to be able to get through the tournament. We have some guys that could win, some guys that can lose, some guys that should win and don't, and guys that shouldn't win that might. Nonetheless, I'll be keeping an eye on wrestling when March rolls around, and at home this Sunday, USC comes into Piscataway to play Rutgers in basketball. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week. We didn't get the snow that they were talking about, at least not up here in North Jersey, and we'll see you the next time.